This is Ken Loomer with my review of the 1969 Ludwig Super Classic drum set. So here we go with the review. The first thing I'll be doing is I'm going to be showing you this exact drum set as was shown in the 1967 Ludwig catalog. As you can see right here, the Ludwig Super Classic drum set. And there it is. Now Ludwig did not make a catalog in 68, 69, or 1970. Their next catalog was 1971. Now what made 1969 so unique was this was a transitional year for Ludwig. They made a lot of changes. The first change they made, of course, was the new badge, the blue and olive badge. So let me show you an example of that on this 70s snare drum. And there it is. There's the blue and olive badge. But in 1969, when these drums were made, there's a stamp inside the shell saying that these drums were made on June 17th, 1969. So what Ludwig did, they didn't want to waste any parts, or of course they didn't want to waste any of the old badges. This drum set still had the Keystone Chicago made badge, as you can see right here. Now Ludwig in 1969, you would see drum sets with the blue and olive badge. Now this drum set had a mixture of parts of the brand new 1969 parts and some of the old. So let's first concentrate on the bass drum. This is a 14 by 22 inch bass drum and the very beautiful champagne sparkle. And of course Ludwig used the right here on the bass drum you can see the key lugs. And of course it had a beautiful inlays, which was part of all their drums. So let's go with one of the new features that Ludwig first started in 1969, and this was the disappearing curved spurs. In 1969, some of the drum sets you will see, it would still be using the fold-up spurs, as you can see right here in the catalog. Sometimes 69 would have these spurs put in, or the brand new disappearing curved spurs, which Ludwig used throughout 1969 when they first started using this, right throughout the 70s. And of course, they were still using the rail mount. Right here is a close-up of the rail mount they used. But this was the new version, and this one had the 70s logo stamped on it. So let me turn around here and see if I can give you a close-up shot of that. Even though this was a 69 drum set. Let's see if I can do this here. You can just about barely see it right there. See if I can focus it right there. There, you can see the 70s logo right there on the stamp. Even though this was the 69 set. Okay. And of course, like we'd always put on the shell mount cymbal holder right here. And this had the 60s logo imprinted right on it. Very nice. Get a nice close look of this beautiful champagne sparkle. This drum set is 48 years old and it still looks new. And here's the other side of the curved spurs. Like I said, in '69 they didn't want to waste any parts, so sometimes on a '69 set you will see these brand new spurs or the fold-up spurs. And I've seen the fold-up spurs in a '69 set with the new blue and olive badge. So like I said, it was a transitional year. Now let's take a look at the floor tom, 16 by 16. And this was, of course, the last year that Ludwig used the Keystone Chicago-made badge. And like I said, they didn't want to waste any parts, so even though this was a '69 set in a transitional year, they just put on the Keystone badge on this set. There it is. And of course, you got to have the 9 by 13 inch tom over here. And again, let's take a look at the snare drum here from this angle, and you will see for the snare butt over here, it had the '60s logo on it. This, of course, was the supra-phonic 400 snare drum. This is 1969 model, and it still looks brand new. But in '69, they added the new throw-off arm right here. And here it is with the '70s logo. Even though you just saw the snare butt would have the '60s logo. As you can see, this one had the short arm. This is the first generation of the new Ludwig P85 arm. Now let me show you this snare drum over here. This is the supra-phonic 400. This is mid-70s, of course. This is the blue and olive. And what Ludwig did to change, they had the throw-off arm was longer. As you can see, it's much longer. Right there, you can see it. And the holes were different. This one only had 2. See, you can see the longer arm, just the 2 holes. Here we go with the first generation. The first came out in '69. Had multiple holes right there, and the arm was much shorter. And this, of course, is the world famous supra-phonic 400 snare drum. Of course, this was famous for pitting very easily, since it was chrome over aluminum shell. But as you can see, this particular snare drum still looks brand new, nothing pitted, no scratches, no nothing. And it's a great sounding snare drum. And I want to let everybody know in part 2, like I always do, I will be playing this exact drum set. I'll be giving this a good workout and a good sound check. So part 1, of course, is just the description of these 1969 Super Classic Ludwig drum set. Now let's go over some of the hardware on this particular. Of course, I just want to emphasize the size of this was a 5 by 14 inch snare drum. Right here, you can see the Ludwig head, Weathermaster head, and Weathermaster head for the floor tom. This one I put on the new Remo Emperor White Suede. This is a very lively snare drum, so I chose this head so it wouldn't ring as much, but it still has a beautiful open tone to it. So let's take a look from the back of this gorgeous drum set here. There we go. Now let's check out some of the hardware. that came with this set. First is the Ludwig cymbal stand, and this is the model 1400 right here. This is the stand that Ringo Starr used all the time with his drum set. Very simple, flat bass cymbal stand, which a lot of the drum companies today are starting to make. Like Pearl is making one. I know Tama and Gibraltar. They're all making these flat bass cymbal stands. And these stands are super light, but they do not move. Of course, this is the stand that Joe Morello also used. And it's the same on this side here. Let me show you. This one had the old thumb screws. And the stand still looks brand new. This is the 1400 model. And let's go over here and check out, of course, the world famous Speed King pedal. There it is. And of course, Ludwig doesn't make this Speed King pedal anymore. But it was the most famous pedal Ludwig ever made. It had 2 springs, compressed springs, inside each post. And of course, see if I can see that. There's the beater right there. It has the Ludwig logo right on it. And this is the new, at the time, Ludwig Atlas snare stand. And let me see if I can see. You can still see this one has, there it is. There's the 60s logo right there on the stand. So this is a 60s Ludwig Atlas cymbal stand. And this is the Ludwig, the new Ludwig Atlas hi-hat stand. Right here. And it had the little wheel to adjust the spring tension, which was, of course, brand new in 1969. There it is. So this is it. This is a fantastic drum set. And I want to let everybody know that the shells on these drum set were made of maple, poplar, and maple with a solid maple reinforcement rings. Bill Ludwig II said these were the finest shells that Ludwig ever made in their Chicago factory. And they made these shells from 1968 to 1975 before they went to the 6-ply shell. But these were great shells, and they even put a thin coat of lacquer inside of it to protect the wood. Amazing sound in drums. And there you go with the 1969 Ludwig Super Classic transitional year. Now I've seen this exact same set with the blue and olive badge, or sometimes you can see it like I have it right here with the last of the Keystone badge. And of course this is with the beautiful champagne sparkle. And this is the Super Classic drum set, as used by like great drummers like Joe Morello. Let me show you this poster right here of Joe Morello. There you can see Joe Morello with his Super Classic drum set right here. Of course, Joe played with the great Dave Brubeck for many, many years. There it is. And there it is, the famous supra-phonic 400. So this is my review, part 1 of the Ludwig 1969 Super Classic drum set. So watch part 2 for a sound check of these beautiful drums. Ken Loomer saying goodbye and happy drumming.